What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another spoiler recap here at Big Gold Belt Media. Cam and Damian G, we're going to talk about the Sympathizer, episode 6, which is titled The Oriental Mode of Destruction. This episode will actually premiere on Sunday, May 19th at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on HBO and then streaming on Max. We're going to say it straight out. Least favorite episode so far we've only seen 6. But this is probably, it dropped really far down the total poll. I think we were looking at what episode, 4 or 3? Yes. And I think 4. We really didn't like it. But now this one definitely took the cake. Well, I mean, were there any highlights of this episode that you thought like you really liked? Or
oh, see, that's a good question because the answer is no.
Very lackluster.
The answer is definitely no.
Okay.
There was nothing I really enjoyed about this episode. And I'm sorry, y'all. We try to be positive here. We really try to find love for the captain and Bond and everything and the general and 7,000 Robert Downey Jr. characters. But this was, in our opinion, the worst episode this season. We talked about disjointedness in the past, how sometimes it's almost too all over the place to keep up with. And then there were rug pulls that didn't have to be rug pulls later in the episode. And then Claude got, which is like, wait a minute, hold on. I'm not Claude. What's his name? Sonny got.
Yeah.
And the reason why he got is the same reason that Dumpling got. Paranoia by the captain. But in reality, how much of it had to do with Sophia? I'm not trying to scream because I don't scream, but the captain lost me this episode. And I told Cam before we got on air, I said, I'm out. I need a break. I'm done with the captain. I'm done with the Robert Downey Jr. trying to win an Emmy. Enough. I'm going to tell you my grade now. It was a 1. That's it. 1 out of 5. And I'm being gracious with the half point. So that's how we start. Forgive us. If you want to turn it off right now on Big Gold Belt Media, it's okay. We understand. But just bear in mind, this will not be a happy review.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, I say the highlight of this episode was the acting, to be honest with you. I mean, they're still doing very well to convey this story and, to hopefully bring this plot full circle in the 7th episode coming up next week. So, I mean, I'm excited for that part, but this episode just lost me. It was just way too many things going on at once. And I feel like it was a lot harder for us as an audience to be able to not only relate to the story, but understand the story while it's happening right in front of us. I think there were several parts in the show we had to rewind and watch again because we were like, what just happened? And it wasn't like we weren't paying attention. We were fully attentive to it, but it was just, it was like one of those, a scene that just goes by too quick and you're like, okay, what is going on right now? But this episode essentially picks back up where the general is finally showing the captain this new camp that he's developed with these Vietnamese soldiers that want to go Saigon once again. And the captain is pissed off, right? He's very, very upset because he thought his mission this whole entire time was successful. He's eventually kind of conveyed to the general, you know what, this is our land, this is where should we stay. There is no other idea, but he had no idea that the past 6 months that he's been gone shooting this film, which seemed like now that he was being preoccupied on purpose because he was the person that was, kind of funneling up the plans for the general, and finds out that Bond is actually in charge of this. Can I ask you a question? When did Bond have time to be a part of this? Because I was just
okay, so let me just say this. I'm still not convinced everything the captain is saying is on the up and up. So Bond might just be a made up thing like Mon. Let's just start there.
Yeah.
So if we've noticed this entire series, Bond has gone from PTSD over the loss of his wife and his child. He's had jobs at the liquor store. He was pooping on himself back in episode 3, I believe. He was basically a corpse that happened to be alive, right? Going through the PTSD. Then all of a sudden he's in a movie as an extra, and he dies in every single scene in this movie, and he's alive again. He has a purpose aside from killing Dumpling, right? So going back to the original, the beginning of this show, we see Bond as like the guy when shit goes down. He's about to throw hands first and foremost. So for me to sit here and see Bond's development from where we saw him at the end of episode 1 till now, this leads me even more to believe that Bond's not real. And again, we have not read the novel. I will not go and read it. I want to wait for the series to play out. But Bond has a purpose.
Mm-hmm.
His purpose maybe is to show loyalty to the general because the general has taken him under the wing more so than the captain recently, even though they're blood brothers. But think about it. While the captain's been trying to sabotage the general has had Bond at his side for multiple stanzas. The liquor store, the pho restaurant, now this. So Bond might just be that dude now. We talked about it before about like those martial arts movies that have like the grunts that are training, right? And Bond's all about this life now. He has found his passion of being the grunt trainer, and he's all about he's all about that life again. Because in this episode, and correct me if I'm confusing things, doesn't he have a monologue that talks about men yelling at their women who have come to this country, and men backhand their women to feel like they're men again? This makes him feel like a man.
Yeah.
So him doing all this makes him feel alive. And I don't think he wants to settle down and have a family again because he had it. He's still paying homage to his wife and child. So what's his purpose? Be the BFF of the captain, who he probably thinks is an asshole now? So why not? The general's giving me all these jobs, and I'm useful. I'm more useful than the captain because I get to train the military folk. I get to throw hands whenever I want. Bond's in heaven.
Yeah.
So you know what? I'm okay where Bond's at right now.
Yeah. Because I mean, at this point, a lot of the characters or the Vietnamese, I guess you call them immigrants that were displaced into the Oakland, California area, they had a idea that they were eventually going to return to Saigon, right?
Correct.
But I feel like the captain he's so Americanized that he felt like, hey, it's over. I'm here. I'm back. We're not going back. If I go back, I'm a communist, so I'm going back to be with my people. But we're not raising hell back in Saigon to try to, create another revolution or, some type of uprise once again. But now, of course, like you said, when he gave that monologue, it's solidifying that he now has a purpose. And I think even the captain in that first scene got to talk to some of the, I guess, the grunt soldiers, we'll call them, right? They don't have names, but they all know they're not coming back. Like, this is a suicide mission at this point. Correct. Because they know either we're going to take over and we're going to die trying, or either we're going to be successful, which I think was crazy. But like you said, when they're in such a bad mental state, and the general being the one that kind of influenced them because he's the one that sells them the alcohol that kind of damper down their depression and their anger, or either hyphen it up, So he's kind of like, he's a huge problem if you think about it, just based on, he's the one supplying them with the liquid courage that's either going to make them hit or, put their hands on their wives, or either make them go across to the Saigon and start this revolution and probably die trying. But yeah, this episode definitely showed us a lot as far as, I don't know, I felt like they showed more of who the captain was, really, which I still think is basically, I don't think he really knows who his self is at this point, because he's still mixed in this triangle of entanglement where he says he's over Sophia, but deep down he wants Sonny out of the picture.
Yeah.
And honestly, I don't know how you felt, but I started to like Sonny as a character. Did you feel like he was starting to grow on you at all?
Not at all. Fake Freddie Prinze Sr. was not growing on me at all. But I like that he was a perfect foil for the captain, right? Two opposing sides on paper, opposing sides. When in reality, Sonny is everything the captain would have been had he stayed in America and not wanted to go back to Saigon.
Right.
So the captain, in a way, is seeing Sonny as almost like a mirror image of who he could have been or who he doesn't want to turn into the longer he stays in America. So what have you, the like you said, the triangle of it all. But I'm sorry, Cap, you knew the stakes with Sophia. You knew what this was about. She told you, woo, live free, die hard. Like, that was her thing.
Yep.
But as far as Sonny showed me this episode how ruthlessly, there's a word I'm looking for, ruthlessly ambitious he could be.
Yeah.
To allow himself to be manipulated by the captain, inevitably got himself killed for it. Listening to the captain, believing that this man who had been an adversary the entire show, all of a sudden, what? He did a 180 and started to warm up to you? Why are you giving me all the information? Why are you being so nice to me? So I would have been on edge the entire time.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And then he gets got. So, Sonny, you will not be missed. That's what you get. And good riddance to bad rubbish.
Yeah. I mean, that's it. I mean, Sonny, I mean, he lived through 6 episodes. I think that was about enough, to be honest with you. I mean, he did his job and he kind of brought out more character traits in the captain that makes him look more like the villain than the hero in this show at this point now. So I mean, the script just seems like it's continuously going to flip. And of course, this whole time, this story is still, folks, being narrated by the captain to the commander communist, right? And the commander communist he's had enough, I think, at this point, because he keeps drilling him about his story, and it just seems like there's more and more hiccups in it, or it's just not airtight, which I think is going to be obviously the downfall of the captain. I don't think he's getting out of this camp, to be honest with you. I think it's going to end up really bad. Like I said, we haven't read the books. We don't know the ending. We don't know what's going to happen. But of course, we're going to give our predictions towards the end of this. But yeah, so eventually the captain does take out Sonny, right? Sonny gets killed. He thinks, I'm good. I'm not going to get, caught. And Sophia calls him. The first person that Sophia calls, when we were all like, ugh, like, girl, you two-timing ass. That's what I kept thinking. I was like, Sandra O is a Sandra Ho. This is crazy. I can't
You've been running that gag all season.
I was like, you gonna call him right after he died. Like and basically she calls him just to drill him that I know you did this, right?
Right.
Now the way she did it, I'm not gonna give it away to people at home because I feel like it was such
you need to see it to understand
scene because it just showed it just was a larger magnitude of how intelligent Sophia really is on this show that she doesn't get credit for, which I thought was great. And she's willing to give an alibi to the captain because she still cares about him, but really deep down knowing that he's a cold-blooded killer at the end of the day. But he doesn't put on that facade because you look at him, he's like this, this
half Vietnamese, half French,
but this Vietnamese, half Vietnamese, American
baby
raised,
face,
Vietnamese born, baby face individual that just looks like he can't do any wrong. But in hindsight, he will do anything to put himself in the highest position to succeed. Honestly, just for Mon, if you think about it. I mean, that's what it just seems like. This is all for Mon, who is really just up here in his mind. So I really want to know, like, what happened to Mon in this story. Like, I gotta know what happens in this next episode. We get to see a little bit more of the character dynamics between Lana and the captain. If you want to walk us through that and just tell a little bit about it, or was there anything that you liked about their character dynamics? Did you feel like,
because okay, so let's flash back a couple episodes where Lana makes the joke that she's the shoulder to cry on if Sophia's shoulder's not available. Like, she makes some sort of connection comment about that. So the fact that after everything's happened with Sonny and Sophia, and who does he go to? We called it, he gonna go to the general's daughter because they had this weird will they won't they Ross and Rachel relationship. where he's seen her grow as from a child to the woman that he inevitably wants to, have relations with. So he goes to her, right? And he's pretty much a whimpering mess of like, I just want to be held. Like his eyes are telling the story, like, I just want you to hold me. I'm vulnerable right now.
Yeah.
And he does the whole, so I'm gonna show this to the camera. He does the whole lean in and gets about that close to her face. And she's like, the fuck is good,
Yeah.
like she wants to kiss him because this is what she's been wanting for a while. And out of nowhere, the captain pulls back and gives her the forehead kiss like a brother to a sister. Not like the romantic sweet, I love you in a romantic way, like forehead kiss, like nuzzle, like you family.
Yeah.
Like,
you give her a noogie
and then
too,
walks
didn't
away. Like, dude, what are you doing? You spent 6 episodes trying to like finagle us into thinking the general's daughter, and you were gonna, with all the jealousy, with fake Ronald Isley, and all of a sudden now you have a chance and you don't pull the trigger. Now, here's my theory as to why he didn't do it. He's so fucked up. He doesn't want to drag her anymore into the shit that he's in. Because he's made such a mess, because he's still trying to dick over her dad, so he has legitimate feelings for her, and now for Lana, and now he's having second thoughts of like, nope, I'm gonna keep it separate. I need her out here because the closer I get to her, what if I have to kill her dad? Like, this is where my mind is going. What if I had to kill her dad? And then there's this woman I may or may not love that I have strong feelings for. So that's a potential reason as to why I think he pulled up and did not want to go through with it. But also, Lana's looking at him, like I said, like, what are you doing, dude? Because maybe Lana feels that she's being the second choice because Sophia done turned him down again. So I'm going to say it this way. I don't even care if they get together anymore. I don't care. I just want to make sure that of all the characters in this show, because you and I have said multiple times, we've watched shows where there are no good guys. Everyone's detestable.
Yep.
She's the least detestable person on this show. She might be the most innocent person we have on this show. Leave her alone. Leave her be.
Yeah. I agree. Because I mean, Lana had only one alternative motive, and that was during the movie filmmaking scene where she wanted to become a star, right? So she tried to get her foot in the door, and that's it. Like, she never did anything to, steal someone's place or kill someone or sabotage their life. She just wanted her own individual choices to be made for herself, which makes sense, especially when your father is a unruly general of a country. Then that makes sense. You probably want your own little piece of liberation at this point. But essentially, we I think we forgot to actually talk about. So there is this whole conveying suit and tie type dinner where the captain actually has to work for Ned Grossman, the senator, right?
I forgot about that. Yeah.
And it basically leads into a paper trail that he actually gives to Sonny, which essentially he frames Sonny for the murder that he's about to commit to Sonny. That's confusing to even say in its own sense at this point. But he finds out a few things when he gets to go to this dinner party. Is that one, Ned Grossman's wife is an alcoholic. And if she has a little bit to drink, she gets a little bit frisky. Nancy Reagan was about to wild out on him in that office. And he was like, and it's funny because she walked up to him and was like,
what you doing?
My husband knows to not dangle young things in front of me like
while
this.
She's caressing his face.
And he was like, and he's like, well, you're too smart for that, right? And she's like, oh, yeah.
To snap her out of it.
I'm like, you fool. Coulda.
That Nancy Reagan joke,
Nancy Reagan for right. But so I was like, well, you ain't with Sophia no more. You might as well just do what you gotta do, brother. But in doing so, he almost gets caught with the papers that he was taking pictures of and actually giving to Sonny before committing the murder for Sonny having these files that he gave to himself. Super confusing. But in doing so, he actually talks to Dr. Robert Hammer, who's actually at this party. He surprised to bump into him, who's so annoying, right? He's just one of the most annoying characters on this show. I don't think it's the lisp accent, but I just think it's just him, just the way he just seems so. I'm untouchable. I can do whatever I want. I can say whatever I want, because
privilege.
I'm in high power and I have friends in high places. Yeah, privilege. And I'm like, it's annoying. And we get to find out in more words than not that he actually is the author of the book, The Oriental Mode of Destruction, which he, if you remember in episode 2, I believe, the captain sees in the office of Dr. Hammer. And he actually sees this book in the general's office as well. Or no, matter of fact, I think he gave it to the general. And before that, it was actually a book that Bond had given to him that he was reading on, which was basically a communist book. I mean, the book was, it had a lot of communist ideas. And come to find out, Richard Hammer is the author of this book, whose real name is Robert Hammer. Dr. Hammer is Richard Head. He basically just used the alias to write this book because, of course, if he were to write this book, then it would have killed his reputation as a I guess Oriental renowned professor.
Yes, Orientalist. That's what the term is.
And come to find out that his translation of his name on the book is Dickhead for Richard Head. Yep. So I was like, yeah, that makes sense. That's perfect for you. Right. I get that. Yeah, so I mean I think that whole entire scene just made the captain kind of question his whole point of being as well as his views. He's like, man, was I played, or was I kind of puppeteered into becoming into this role after reading this book? Because now I'm thinking the book, right? In my head, I'm like, oh man, this book is placed in the captain's hands. What if this book actually trained him in his mindset to create this person, Amon, right? Like maybe this destructive Oriental mindset book was almost like a form of hypnotism that basically conveyed this new character, or a communist character that, the captain was just making up. I mean, as we know, the captain's experienced a lot of PTSD. I mean, and the closer we get to the end of this season, we see that Mon just don't seem like he's real. Do you think what is the chances, do you think, that we're really going to see a Mon, or who do you think this Mon character is, or was created by?
Okay, my quick theory is I don't think Mon and Bon are real. If I'm being blunt, I think seeing that head in the jungle as a child fucked up the captain, like seeing death that early in life, and plus being abandoned by all the Robert Downey Jr. fathers in his life. And like we said, PTSD. I think he's so in deep that he doesn't know who he is, what he is. And that's why he's so good at his job, because even he doesn't know what's true or what's not. He's the best actor here because he's playing multiple roles, and it's a method acting. It's like you get so into the character that you become the person even when the cameras aren't rolling. And that is who I believe he's portraying. I believe that Mon is the life that he would have had he stayed in Saigon, right?
Right.
Bon would have been the family man life that he could have wound up having, or if he would have just really believed in what the general has been saying this entire time.
Right.
I didn't even think about whether. And I'm going real deep off the edge. And again, we did not read the novel, and we don't want to spoil it. If the captain was the one that lost the woman and child in episode 1, and there was no Bond, and that is some dissociative personality disorder, like, it will throw me for a loop. It'll throw me for a loop. And right now, that's the only way that's going to save the show, in my opinion. If it turns out to be, it's all in his head. And I know last episode I said I don't want it to be a dream kind of thing, but that is the thing that makes the most sense to me. And mind you, there's a sequel to the novel. So
Right.
we're not going to be done with the captain anytime soon.
Yeah.
So all I know is there's a sequel to the novel, more to come. But
Yeah.
I think that would be the way I would kind of shock and awe that there was no Mon, there was no Bon. It
Yeah.
was always just the captain.
Yeah, I think that honestly would make sense to me. My theory was I was thinking that okay, we've already talked about how he has difficulty with French things, right? And not
Yes.
only like biscuits, eggs.
Detest
There's
anything
tons of different
French.
things that are like triggers for him that just make him absolutely putrid or just make him absolutely sick to his stomach. And in my head, I'm thinking, you know what? He seemed like he's been like not like in a form of hypnosis, right?
Right.
Kind of like the Winter Soldier, right? Like he's in a
Yes.
Winter Soldier type state where different trigger words actually makes him think a certain way. And I'm thinking, you know what? I think this book was written by all of these individuals that are obviously Robert Downey Jr.'s face, right?
Mhm.
And Claude is at the head of it. And Claude created this person that they probably took from the Communist Party, re-educated him to become a spy for them, and now he doesn't know what side he's on. I mean, we already know he's confused, but he
Yep.
originally probably thinks, "Oh man, I am a communist." When come to find out, you're not. You were never a
Yep. It's all in your head.
communist. We planted you there, and I think that's why Claude's always there to kind of reassure him, like, "Hey, you're okay, you're good. I'm checking in on you. I'm just gonna pop up, see what you're up to
With
and
my
stuff,"
dog.
because he wants to. It's like peering into a fish tank, right? It's like, all right, I
Yeah.
want to make sure my fish is still floating, make sure it's not floating upside down. And it's just this is what it seems like, just checking in here and there to see if you're still alive. But I feel like, I'm excited now that you said that there's a sequel. I mean, maybe if they end up doing it, we'll see. But it does give us a little bit more light into what are the possibilities of this whole entire scenario. But in this episode, I think it was just absolutely crazy. I'm not sure if I gave it a rating yet. For me, my rating for this episode, I'm gonna give it a 1.5. I'm very, very generous. So I'm
You
gonna
are
give it
generous, man.
1.5. I always got to throw
Jeez.
those little fives in there. Um, was there anything that we missed that you wanted to touch on that you thought was like super important in this episode?
Not of note. I think the tease you mentioned about Sophia
Yeah.
shows me a lot more, like you said, and we said
Mhm.
from the beginning that she seems more important to the story than what she's being portrayed,
Yeah.
because you don't bring Sandra Oh on and
Right.
not
Just
have
for
something juicy for her to do beside be the
right.
side piece.
Right.
So
Exactly.
we still have that theory that she's been in on it the whole time
Yeah.
and she might be his handler. So
I mean,
we'll
he's
see.
always had a boss no matter where he went, right?
Hmm.
So it's like, all right, well, yeah, she might know more than what she's telling at this point. Maybe that's why she was so not reluctant, but very she was okay with the death of Sonny, right?
Yeah.
Where
She
she
wasn't
was even
heartbroken at all.
no,
No.
she didn't seem I mean, she was puffing a cigarette, but at the same time, she seemed more about saving the mission if there
Yes.
was one, She was like,
Protecting the captain.
yeah, like protecting not only herself, but also
Hmm.
her cattle, I guess you can call it, like you said, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, crazy episode. I think that's about it, right?
Yeah.
That's all I
For
can think of.
me,
Yeah.
like again, I gave it a 1, so there's not much else I could give you
And
to
I gave
save
it a
this episode.
1.5. This was definitely going to be one of our shortest reviews on it because it was not our favorite episode. But yeah, guys, thank you again for checking us out here at Big Gold Belt Media. Make sure you go check out the Sympathizer episode 6, titled "The Oriental Mode of Destruction," which is premiering Sunday,
Yes.
May 19th.
19th.
At 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on HBO and streaming on Max. If you guys like more content just like this, make sure you check us out at biggoldbeltmedia.com. Like, subscribe, hit that notification button so you can be the first ones to know about new content that we drop on a week-to-week basis. Until next time, peace.
Peace.